Welcome back to Politics Nation. Out of our darkest days in our great country came inspiring leaders like Georgia Congressman John Lewis, a man at the forefront in the struggle for civil rights. He was attacked and almost beaten to death marching for voting rights in 1965. It was a turning point for civil and voting rights in America. He was trying to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama, and he stayed true to the movement. After more than 50 years on the front lines, this courageous foot soldier for fairness is still fighting for justice. His new book is called Across That Bridge: Life Lessons and a Vision for Change. In it, he lays out for new generations the lessons of an incredible journey. Joining me now, civil rights icon, founding member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, Georgia Democrat, Congressman John Lewis. Congressman Lewis, it's an honor to have you with us here tonight.
Well, thank you very much, Al. I'm delighted, very happy, and very pleased to be with you tonight.
One of the things that you went across that bridge in 1965 for was voting rights. And now we see with the voter ID laws and other methods in Florida purging voters that they're trying to chip away, and you've instructed those of us younger to keep fighting on this. I saw where Senator John Cornyn attacked the Attorney General Holder and said he ought to resign, not only for the Fast and Furious investigation, but he actually stated that he wanted his resignation in part because of what he was doing around the voting ID laws, in his words, stopping them from finding fraud. Let me show you what Senator Cornyn said.
You won't cooperate with a legitimate congressional investigation, and you won't hold anyone, including yourself, accountable. Your department blocks states from implementing attempts to combat voter fraud. You leave me no alternative but to join those that call upon you to resign your office.
Now, the senator said blocking fraud, but we can't even find fraud. You, from the floor of the House all the way around this country, have raised questions about this claim of voter fraud. How do you react to Senator Cornyn?
I'm surprised and really dismayed that a senator, a member of Congress, but a senator from Texas, of all places, Texas was one of the 11 southern states, from Virginia to Texas, that tried to prevent and keep people from participating in the democratic process. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 wanted to make it simple and convenient for all of our citizens to become participants. And I'm sick. I tell you, Al, I'm sick and tired of people lecturing to us, those that were never, ever denied the right to register to vote, those that never, ever had to pass a so-called literacy test, or to count the number of bubbles in a bar of soap, or the number of jelly beans in a jar, that tell us that we don't know what we're talking about. If the state governments around our country fail to do what is right and fair and just, it is the responsibility of the federal government, for the Attorney General, to enforce the spirit and the letter of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. There's no such thing as wholesale fraud taking place in America. Voter fraud.
Congressman, your book is very, very inspiring. I want to read you a quote from the final chapter that really kind of summed up your vision for future activists. You said, "We can be way showers, light bearers, and mentors of the light who encourage others to flourish, create, manifest, and glow. As each person turns on the illumination of the Spirit, revealing gifts, talents, and visions for the future, we can blend our majesty in a glorious concert of communion." I mean, those are beautiful words. The reason you wrote this book was for what is the purpose you hope people walk away from this book having fulfilled?
Well, it is my hope and my prayer that when people read this book, they will be inspired. They will come together and move together the same way we did during the 60s, with faith, with hope, with love, peace, and nonviolence, to create a nonviolent revolution. a revolution of ideas, a revolution of values, where people will be able to say, this is what we need, this is what we want, and this is what we're going to get in a democratic society.
Well, I really have always admired and respected you. I hope that those of us that come behind you can somehow internalize some of the optimism and discipline and strength you have shown, and maybe if we all read this book, we can get a little closer to being the example you set. Congressman Lewis, the book is Across That Bridge. It's an inspiration. We always appreciate having you here, and thank you for your time tonight.
Well, thank you very much, Al.
We're celebrating 2 big birthdays today, or are we? I'll explain this one next.